All right, so in our first plenary session, let's begin. And we're very happy to have a speaker who's known to almost all of us, I think, and has been the leader in this conference series and has been leading us this morning. The first speaker is Vladimir Burkanov. He's a well-known and senior biologist at the Kamchatka branch of the Pacific Institute of Geography of the Russian Academy of Sciences. And his title of his talk today is The Current State of the Study, Protection, and Use of Marine Mammals in Russia. Dr. Burkanov.
Dear friends, dear participants of the conference, all my life has been dedicated to the conservation and study of marine mammals. It will be 40 years next year since I started my professional career in the whole Arctic in Russia, but I had experience working in Alaska and joined expeditions in Japan and South Korea. My experience in other countries made it possible for me to have a critical view on the current study and conservation of marine mammals in Russia and worldwide, which I want to share with you. Russia has fourth area, or rather Russia ranks fourth for the exclusive economic zone, which is 200 miles. This area takes 7.5 million square kilometers, which inhabits 48 different species of marine mammals, or about 40% of these animals. Unfortunately, by the start of 21st century, more than 50% of these species are very low in abundance and are red listed in Russian Red Book. In Russia, marine mammals are protected by a number of federal decrees on fisheries, on the environmental protection, and a number of decrees and rules. For violating these laws, there is a penalty. But all these laws are very universal, very general. They manage the usage of the animal world from microscopic organisms to blue whales, the biggest mammal of our planet. And this general approach in general is good, but whatever concerns the specific species is very hard to find and to apply to real situations in life. Marine mammals are very unique animals. They live in water, they have specific features and characteristics which must be taken into account when conserved. But the absence of a law with all the necessary details written limits work on its management and preservation. And I would like to show you some specific examples. Marine mammals have 27 rare species, which are red listed in Red Book, and 21 commercial species. We also should have 4 more commercial species, which are also fine. This is the eastern population, which is killer whale, walrus, and ringed seal. We need this table to understand the situation in Russia. On the right, in red, we see species which are, as I said, red listed in Russian Red Book, and it is protected by the Ministry of Natural Resources. On the left, we see the normal species in black, which are protected by the Ministry of Agriculture. Let's take a closer look at them. Ministry of Agriculture has special agency Federal Agency of Fisheries, which has to monitor, regulate, and conserve water resources and pay attention specifically to the universal principle. There is a water resource, and all these activities are regulated by the laws and decrees which regulate the usage and management of water resources. The federal agency has a structural unit which is responsible for scientific studies. They work with research, they collect data, they analyze the data, and they provide informational support to the management, which is responsible for the management and enforcement. All the decisions are taken based on the scientific recommendations, which is a very good and logical system. VNIRO regional branch has hundreds, maybe thousands of scientists and specialists who are very well known both in Russia and worldwide for their work and publications. VNIRO also has professionals responsible for collecting data, which, or rather who do it day to day, but there are about 15-20 people, and they are also always participating in our conferences, and they will have their own presentation during this conference. We also have another unit of the Federal Agency of Fisheries, which is Federal Regional Fisheries Departments. Every region has it, Magadan, Kamchatka, Chukotka, and so on. They give the special ability for others to fish, and they regulate and manage marine mammals. Hundreds and thousands of specialists work there, including managers and inspectors and fish biologists and so on. Of course, they should have very narrow specialists who would work with management and conservation of marine mammals. Well, I started my career 40 years ago as one of the specialists in Kamchatka. And these kind of specialists worked in Moscow, Sakhalin, White Sea, Murmansk, and totally they numbered about 100 people at that time. But unfortunately, the modern structure does not have this kind of specialists. They have a lot of work to do, they have a lot of problems with managing water resources, and that's why they do not have the capability. Sorry? They do not have an ability to systematically manage marine mammals. And that's why there are no these kind of specialists. Or maybe they take up this job when there is some kind of accident. Analyzing 25 commercial species, providing laws, providing necessary managing structure, there is no one to do this job. So now let's take a look at the organization of the rare species management and protection. Federal Ministry of Natural Resources is a big ministry which has different departments, including Research Institute of Ecology. But this department is quite small and it has only 2-3 specialists who have regular studies for many years of only one species, namely polar bear. Ministry of Natural Resources has a wide network of protected environment. It has more than 200 state nature preserves, national parks, and other territories, which has more than 100 researchers and specialists who work with these animals, including marine mammals. But if we take a look at the map of these natural reserves, unfortunately, we see that the aquatic area is very small to say that they play a significant role in the conservation of marine mammals in Russia. The ministry has a federal agency which oversights service. In Russian it's called Rosprirоднадзор. They have control and management functions. This federal service provides an ability to catch different species, including rare species, but in accordance with the laws and Red Book species. We also see universal approach here, but the specialists are not present in this agency either. Just as in the Federal Agency of Fishery, they are all overworked, and that's why marine mammals are not part of their daily routine. And if they happen to be, but only during the critical accident, during some critical times. And analyzing the condition of 27 rare species, planning and improving their conditions, providing new laws, working on the structure, is no one to do this kind of job. When speaking about the Federal Security Service is what is referred to, specifically Border Guard Service. This service also works with marine mammals, but the main part is not to work with the animals, but to protect the borders of our country. They also control commercial ships and fight contraband. And as this kind of fishery is not present in Russia, then this service also does not work with marine mammals, and they do not have specialists who would work with these matters. As a result, Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Natural Resources have at least 20-30 specialists on marine mammals. Unlike Ministry of Natural Resources, there are only a few of them for the whole country, and all of them work in scientific research institutes. None of these ministries and border security service, none of them have specialists who would have daily routine on protecting, on studying, on conserving marine mammals. These experts work with marine mammals only during some extraordinary events. Based on these facts, we can say that marine mammals protection and conservation is only nominal. It is spoken about in the legislation, it is written about in the laws, but in reality, this is either given some orders for fishing or working on some extreme cases. There is no day-to-day, there is no routine work. This is a systematic error. And we are speaking about the fourth biggest aquatic area. And I would like to state and put down this problem in the resolution of our conference, and I hope that it will be addressed to and solved in the future. Let's get back to the marine mammals. We considered the administrative structure and we considered the agencies which the government allocated these functions to. But we have other functions which are not part of the governmental management on marine mammals. They actively study, they actively conserve these mammals. First of all, these are institutes, and different institutions, science research institution of Russian Academy of Science. This kind of work is conducted by Severtsov Research Institute, Shershov Research Institute, Institutes of Oceanology in Vladivostok, Kamchatka branch of Oceanography and Marine Biology, and other science research institutions. Different universities and higher education academias and institutions deal with this work, both in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and other regions. We also have different profit and non-profit organizations from Moscow State University and others. And of course, we have non-governmental organizations, and our Council on Marine Mammals is also part of this. We also have Boomerang, we also have Friends of the Oceans in Sakhalin and Delpha, as well as others. Besides these academical institutions, which have basic research within the allocated financing, most of these organizations do not have financing. They work on contracts with different commercial organizations, with companies which work on production of hydrocarbons off-shelf and on-shelf. They are supported by Russian Geographical Society, by international organizations like IMF, Greenpeace and others, or just from charities, from different sponsors, companies, or common people. But all this work are very short-termed and cannot replace constant financing and attention from the government. All these organizations are a very good place to prepare specialists who would conserve marine mammals, but they do not provide a very good working conditions, and they cannot sustain specialists. But there are a lot of problems in these different regions, more than enough, as well as in other regions in the world. Fishing, death of animals, entanglement, ship strikes, especially when speaking about whales and entanglement, plastic deaths. Bycatch, plastic debris, more and more wastes and debris in the water, more shipping, noise, which also makes it difficult for cetaceans to communicate and find the mate, and other problems which increase in time and which have adverse effects on marine mammals. We can cope with these problems only via a very good organization and with the support of the government, with the help of the law. It's not possible to do it with temporary solutions or with the help of the volunteers. Previously, the main threat was catching. Because of the fishing, we had fewer and fewer species. Then this negative factor stopped to be relevant, and because of that, only several species became extinct in 200-300 years. These issues are very important, and they kill animals every year, and they are not that visible. We don't really see how animals disappear. And here is an example. Sea otter population in North Kuril Islands is about several hundred individuals. Nobody knows how they disappeared, and there is no one to ask. But sea otter is a rare species. The rare species is a red listed one and is a protected species, but the catastrophe has occurred, and this is not has been given attention from the government. The system has failed to work or does not work, as it doesn't work when animals have problems, have accidents. This kind of color is a certain death to this Stella sea lion, but this is a rare species. This is a red listed one. Who can help this animal? There is no algorithm for the action, and this is a systematic error from the governmental management on marine animal conservation. For many years, good-natured people from the island of Sakhalin cry about this problem and try to at least push this issue, but there is not a single official from the government who would be able to do so and who should be able to do so. And because of that, we can say that there is no management system on the abundance of marine mammals. There is no regular survey and analysis of the well-being of all 48 species, which our 200-mile area is rich for. The presence of this system would allow us to take certain measures and precautionary measures as well. And the governmental management system does not have specialists who would be responsible for the conservation of marine mammals. If we do not solve this systematic error, a number of species would become extinct. In closing my remarks, I would like to use words of Alexei Yablokov. He said that a human must become a human, not a hunter, but a wise master of a planet, and treat it as an individual. Thank you for your attention.